Are you trying to find ways to include your fur babies in your wedding without them physically being there? Well, I think I might have an idea for you. Hello and welcome to the second video in my mini wedding series. I really do wish that the price tag on this wedding was mini as well. I'm Melanie Sue, and today's video just might be my personal favorite of this entire wedding series, and that is food tasting. Today I will be discussing all things food related to my wedding, and stay till the end of the video to see what my favorite part of this whole process was. I'll give you a little hint. Evil was a very big part of it. I do want to break this down into 3 different parts because I'm going to be talking about 3 different versions of the food in this video. So it's catering, baking, and my extra surprise at the end. I know, I'm prolonging the video. Let's just get right into it, right? Let's start with something sweet, our cake. Let me just say, skipping ahead of this whole portion, it was absolutely delicious. Being that we started locking down vendors a little bit late in the process of our whole wedding planning, I was so anxious, but thankfully our venue had a designated list that had vendors that we could use, and the baker was on that list. The company is called The Master Baker. That name is quite interesting, to say the least. Now, I am located in Pennsylvania, and this specific baker was located in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which was actually really close to our venue, which is something you should keep in mind when looking for vendors. I know people kind of give you suggestions as to caterers, vendors, and all those other good stuff, but you want to make sure, or at least try, to get vendors that are close to your venue. That way you don't get charged extra, because these vendors do charge mileage fees. Now, as for everything else in this whole wedding planning process, I wanted to make sure that they were someone that I was interested in. And a lot of people nowadays like to kind of see what they're really about, look at some reviews. You just want to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck. And that is exactly what I did. I found their Instagram, I checked what they did, and they actually did a really good job. What they had posted was absolutely amazing. And then I started looking at comments and reviews. So everything seemed to check off, and I was really excited about it. So obviously I did the next thing, which was to set up an appointment. They do charge a $30 fee to set up a in-person tasting. It's actually not that expensive compared to some other ones that I was actually looking up. And I believe it goes towards the cake at the end. Not 100% sure, I can't remember honestly. It's already been a few months. Me and my husband were definitely excited to try this stuff out. I mean, it's cake, who doesn't love cake? When we went in for our appointment, we were met with a woman, I don't remember her name, and I feel really bad because I want to make sure that I'm giving everyone credit where it's due. But if I find it, I'll insert the name somewhere around here. If not, I'm really, really sorry. Check this place out, they're really good. Before we even got into the appointment, we did have to answer some questions so they could give an idea of what we wanted for our wedding. I told her I was having a fall wedding, so she wanted to try to pull things that would kind of resonate with that area. But we also did have a list of flavors that we got to choose from, both cake and frosting and filling. We sat down and we dove right into the tasting. It was the first thing we did. She asked some brief questions in the beginning and then described what we had in front of us, and then we got to taste each item that we had. I wanted them all. They were absolutely amazing. It was a perfect environment for a tasting. Perfect. After we completed the tasting portion of everything, we kind of like try to narrow down some of the flavors that we really liked. We obviously want something to resonate with like fall. We had 2 different types of flavor cake. One was yellow pound cake and the other one was a banana cake, which that was so good. I loved it. We went with a buttercream frosting in the outside, and for the fillings, we doubled it, 1 peanut butter and 1 espresso. That espresso one is so good. Given the type of theme that my wedding was gonna be, I kind of wanted a rustic cake. I went with the basic naked cake. Everybody does it, I know. But what I did a little different in this one was we put donuts and some dripping on it. We were like, that's the cake we want. Whatever we didn't finish at the end of our appointment, she ended up packing up in a box for us and giving it to us so we could take home. But she also gave us a few more pieces so that we can give to our family to kind of taste as well, which was really nice. They didn't have to do that, but they were nice enough to do that. They charge based off on how many tiers you get. I think we had 3 or 4. I think it was 3. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember that. Oh, so bad. We ended up paying close to $600 for it. Price tag also included mileage, so I don't remember specifically how much the cake cost and how much the mileage added to that cost. Something cool that they do, which I'm very much excited for, you're supposed to take the top tier cake, freeze it in your freezer, and eat it on your first year anniversary. Thank God. Thank God. On your 1-year wedding anniversary, you're able to go back and they will give you a cake top that is the cake of your choice, and they give it to you so that you don't have to worry about freezing it. They were very on point with the whole don't eat a nasty cake that's been in your freezer for a year, and honestly, I'm for it. I would have never eaten it. And after all that delicious cake we had that day, we were ready to move on to the next food item of our wedding, and that was the catering for the food. So again, with us searching late in the game for all of this, we were pretty limited to what we were able to go. I had a few in mind, but unfortunately, they were all booked up for our day because we ended up waiting late. I'm gonna give you the best piece of advice. Don't be us. Search early. Give yourself time, because trust me, it's going to be very beneficial for you. Don't want to leave everything for the last minute. If you're getting married and you know when you're getting married, start like literally as of now booking everything, because if you don't, I kid you not, everything books up so fast. But thankfully, after searching for days, having some small panic attacks, and possibly crying and losing my mind, we finally found someone, and they were the Stonehill Catering. I was so thankful to find out that they had an opening that day, so I immediately discussed with them what my needs and what my wants were for our day, what we were looking for, and they assured us that they can do the job. So what do? I booked our tasting for the day. They were located in Lancaster, PA. They were a little further away from our venue, but again, we were very limited to the options we had, so we kind of couldn't be too picky with it. A really cool thing about them is they actually have a kitchen in their basement. If you've watched my last video, I'm gonna put it up here, go check it out. I discussed how I wanted everything to feel homey and cozy and family oriented, and their spot felt beautiful. I think just having that kitchen in their basement and in their home made it feel very home and cozy, and that's just what their home looked like. Their food, top tier. We went in, we were introduced to the person kind of running the show, which her name was Melissa. She was absolutely sweet, and she had this company with her husband, which I don't remember his name. They ended up getting us the food options. This one, they didn't necessarily ask us what we wanted. They were more along the lines asking what we were hoping for and when was our wedding gonna be, and they kind of just went with that. And I honestly am so in love with what they chose. We tried steak, chicken, and I forgot what the other thing was. The steak was absolutely amazing, but the chicken, I'm a big fan of grilled food, and nothing says family gathering like grilled food. So obviously the chicken was definitely on my list. I wish we could have chosen everything, honestly, but we obviously, feeding a bunch of people is not cheap, so choose wisely how many you want. Something that she told us, which really made it great to know, is they cook extra plates just in case. So let's just say you're doing a wedding of 20 people. They'll ask that you put an order for like 5 extra people just in case other people show up. I thought at first that it was kind of like, well, we don't want to overpay and like, I don't know if we need it. When it came close to our wedding, we needed those extra plates, and I am so thankful we had them. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your catering. You don't have to go with what they're suggesting, but definitely consider adding a few extra plates just in case. They offered a lot of other things as well. Obviously, a lot of catering companies do. I don't know this because again, this is my first time getting married. This is all new to me. But in case you don't know, because I feel like this is something I've researched and I don't think people have told me or have said this. They offered the place covers, they offered the napkins, they had plates if you wanted, they had cups if you wanted, they offered the silverware, they offered plastic and glass. On top of having those options, she had a variety of colors. And something else they offered, which I don't think a lot of catering people do this. Actually, I don't really know, because again, first time getting married here. They offered a variety of different coffee drinks. So like if you want a cappuccino, a latte, they made all that. I'm not gonna get into details of how much we spent on everything when it comes to the catering part, because it really depends on how many plates you're buying. But roughly per plate, it ranged around $21 to $25 per person. And then when it came to the coffee and the appetizers per person, it was roughly $4 to $6. Again, it depended on how many people you had, which appetizers you went with. So the range kind of varies depending on people. And hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of price estimate when it comes to your own weddings. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for sticking around. But this is the part that I have been dying to share. My personal favorite thing of the entire wedding, well, aside from marrying my husband, obviously. For the longest time, I tried to find ways to include my fur babies into my wedding. I obviously couldn't bring them to the wedding. I wish I could have, but I wanted to do something that would incorporate them in some way. Thankfully, my mother-in-law ended up knowing someone who made dog treats. I know the guests don't obviously eat them, but it's for all the fur babies that didn't get to come along in the wedding and celebrate with us. Speaking on this specific topic today is very emotional for me, because if you follow me on Instagram or any of my social media, you know that My husband and I ended up losing one of our dogs roughly a month before our wedding, and it was the most devastating and hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. It was just so difficult, and it made what I chose to do even more special, and I wanted to make that stand out from my wedding. The person that ended up doing our dog treats was named Kristen. As her own little company that I honestly really do think if you are trying to figure a way of how to include your fur baby and don't know how, I think treats honestly is the way to go. What an awesome thing to do, to be able to give your guests that inclusion, especially because a lot of our guests have pets and that's their babies too. She was very educated on what are good things to feed your dog as well as how things should be prepared. I felt like not just my fur babies were being taken care of, but all the other fur babies that are getting treats. And they were a big hit. Everybody absolutely loved these treats. I also want to mention that it's not just dog treats. I did have cat treats, not a lot, but I did have cat treats there as well. I know there's a lot of information to sit through, but if you are a bride planning, I really do hope this helps you know what to expect when it comes to these portions of planning your wedding. Obviously, what I choose to do might not be what you choose to do, but having an idea of how these things go and what to expect is super helpful. And as usual, if you have any questions about these topics, definitely let me know down in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to chat with you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative in any way. And before you click off, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There's more to this wedding series coming up. And hit that bell so you can stay notified when they pop up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.